morning, and thank you for keeping it Citizen Television as we kickstart our conversation on the social hour. Hey, bana, my ancestors leo wametembelea. Yeah, social hour this morning. Karibuni sana, of course. My name is Safin Achieng. What do you expect? Karibu sana. And we want to talk about something that I saw trending last week, and I believe it has elicited quite an interesting conversation around this gentleman from, is it Tanzania, I believe, who is 60 years old. So there was this clip that was going viral about him. I think it was, one of the interviews he was having about why he's still living in his father's house at 60 years of age. And he was actually giving some reasons why that is working for him. Why should he live? That is the question he was asking those who were probing him on that particular question. And it got us thinking, I mean, is it a must for you to move out of your parents' house? At what age must you do that if it is a must? And how does it impact your life if you want to date, if you want to get married, if you want to sort of like, stabilize and get yourself going? Ni lazima utoke kwa wazazi? That's the question that we are asking. And I have a panel with me, fully constituted, two ladies and gentlemen, not new to the show. Always interesting to have you guys on a set. Nakuona tu umeanza.
Good morning.
Good morning, Roberta.
Safin, did I ever tell you my name is also Achieng?
It is?
Yeah, Roberta Achieng.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. No wonder. There's something about you,
Achieng supremacy.
Achieng wanakuanga, kuna vile wanakuanga. But good to see you.
Good to see you
Looking
too.
good in
Thank
that.
you.
Looking sharp.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, cutie.
Yeah, good morning.
Wewe unaweza katiwa na mtu ako kwao. Acha tuanze hapo. Ama tusijibu hiyo swali. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you, by the way.
CJ.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
CJ, how are you doing? No, let me ask. CJ, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
Namchokoza. Anajua kwa nini. He knows why I'm asking him that.
Weekend haikuwa mzuri.
Weekend hajakuwa fiti. CJ wametunyorosha tatu.
Pole.
Liverpool imenyorosha Manchester
Bado
tatu.
ana recover.
Bado na recover. I'm still in a heartbreak, but I know CJ is happy. I know CJ is happy.
You know I'm very, very humane, right?
Yes, you are. You are.
Unaelewa.
Yeah. So we don't kick people who are down.
CJ, sawa tu.
Yeah. All right, so I'm assuming, because I know every person who is on set, hakuna mtu wako kwao, si ndio? And then kuna story hapo. Yeah? Kuna wale walienda, wakajaribu, wakarudi, wakaenda, wakajaribu. By the way, the first time I moved out of my parents' house, I tried for 2 months. Nikaona, it's not working. Nikarudi, nikajiita mkutano, nikajipanga vizuri, ndo nikatoka sasa vizuri. I don't know what your stories are. But the question this morning we are asking, is it a must for somebody to move out of their parents' house? Nianzie na wewe Cutie.
Wow, that's a tricky question because I think moving out of your parents' house is a sign of independence. That's what I think. Because sisi wote tunatakaga kutoka tunasema, wacha niende nianze maisha. I mean, it's always the tagline, like, nenda kuanza maisha. And if I stay in my parents' house, then sintaishi kutegemea wazazi. Na unajua mzazi ni mzazi. At the end of the day, madhe hatawai nifukuza kwa nyumba. Hatawai niambia ati toka uende, sijui toka ufanye nini. Mzazi anapenda mtoto wake, and probably hata akikaa naye hapo ndio anasikia fiti. And not every parent will always tell you. Some parents are bold enough watakwambia, hey, you need to start go and looking for you, especially for men. Utapataga maboy sana ndio wanaambia go, hey, we saizi unafaa kuwa mwanaume. But I think it's a sign of independence, and I think it's very, very important. Uende uanze maisha ndio uweze ku appreciate maisha. That for me is a very, very important factor because ukikaa na wazazi ina depend. Kuna watu kana wazazi because of certain reasons. Sawa hatuwezi wajudge. Unaweza kana mzazi probably because they are not well, maybe ni mgonjwa na anaishi peke yake. Hiyo nayo au tunawasamehea. Kuna watu wanarudingi home. Kuna mtu anaweza kuwa ametoka na arudi home aseme madhe anaishi peke yake, madhe ni mgonjwa kwa kumwangalia. That is okay. But sasa tunaongelelea ile time imefika, you gotta go. Unakaa kwa mzazi ukifanya nini? Yaani umekaa tu kwa mzazi, unakula huko. unakuja unapata madhe amekupikia, madhe anakufungulia mlango sijui saa 8 za usiku. Wewe ni mwanaume tu, yani umeamua mimi sitoki kwa mzazi. Na kuna wale watu wenye wanakanga zile za si madhangu ako na hiyo do, si kwetu tuko na hiyo hau kubwa. Sasa mbona nitoke niende na kwetu tuko na 5 bedroom, tuko na 3 bedroom. Kuna room yangu. I've always had that room. Hata mimi niko na room yangu kwetu, but siishi kwetu, unanielewa? So kuna wale watu wanaamua kuwa lazy. There's that one person that becomes lazy and decides I'm not gonna fend for myself. Acha tu nikae home, na hata itafuta job, hata waifanya kitu yote. Kuna wale wenye wanaweza kuwa job but decide kama dem. Mimi naweza ongelelea tu story ya madem. Mimi kama madhangu angekuwa anakaa Nairobi, sijui, I don't know if ningekuwa naishi.
Would you be living alone?
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think ningekuwa tempted niende niishi kwa madhe in the name of niseme sitaki madhe akae peke yake, number 1, and then again I'd say number 2, mbona nilipe rent na madhe yako hapa, si nini hiyo do niko na hao na jenga pale. So maybe hao yangu inaweza kuwa na jenga pale na hii rent ningekuwa nalipa na nimekaa kwa madhe. So it really depends, but I don't appreciate a man mwenye anakaa kwa madhe. Mimi siwezi date boy anakaa kwa madhe. Mimi siwezi date boy anakaa ati boy anakaa kwa madhake. Hizo decisions zake zote ziko influenced na madhe. Hata huyo boy anaweza niambia si kama tukae kwa madhe, by the way madhe yako na 5 bedroom hapa, kama tukae hapa tunaenda kulipa rent because of unanielewa?
But doesn't it make sense?
I make sense. For me it does not make sense.
Sasa economy iko juu.
Sasa juu economy iko juu, kwani people are not paying rent. Hata kama tutaishi kwa hiyo bed sitter Safin, heri huyo boy aniambie babe twende tuanze life, tulale chini kwa mattress, tuanze maisha. Hata kama ni kwa bed sitter ni sawa. Hiyo inanionyesha this man is responsible, because tutaishi kwa madhe hadi lini, una get? So it really depends with the situation and the circumstance.
Hey, Roberta.
I thought you'd ask CJ first.
No, CJ itafika tu kwake. His story.
Yeah.
You've watched that video.
Yes, I have.
At least, yeah? This guy, explain. Amesema, mbona ni move out? And being 60, he has a family, ako na watoto. I mean, life inaendelea. And for him to have a family, haimaanishi kwamba hawaprovide. Maybe there is a way he's doing, his things here na familia inakula. So why should I move out? Hiyo ndo swali anauliza.
Alisema,
is it a must?
Alisema wazazi washajenga, yeye anajenga nini? See, they already have houses, so wako sawa.
Kupika wanapika pamoja. I mean, you're saving, cutting costs. Yeah.
So with this one, I'm kind of in the middle, and I'll explain. So for myself, mi tangu ni hame home, enyewe nilisema hata nini fanyike, sirudi nyuma. Because sijai rudi. I'm celebrating a year of fine. Is it a year? No, it's actually been 3 years of me living away from home. Kama by the way si ati vitu kuhappen nitoke mtaani, mi plan yangu ilikuwa kuishi home forever. That's actually what I wanted, because I was away from home most of my childhood, always in school, boarding, sijui nini. So when I cleared uni, I had made a conscious decision. Now I want to spend time with my family, with my parents, because they're aging. This is the only stretch of time I'm going to have with them, because after that, niki decide kuolewa sinivo sasa naenda fore. But then things happened and I had to move away from home. And now that I've been away, siezi rudi, like I do everything to make sure my bills are paid on time, everything is happening. And I guess how I can explain what QT is trying to say is that kuna some life experiences that teach you some things. It's not necessarily in the moving out. It's not in the process of moving out of home. It's in the experiences and the values and the lessons you learn while living alone. It's like traveling alone or starting a business on your own or going into a relationship. There's a set of lessons you learn for your life that cannot be taught any other way. You'll never learn them if you're still living at home. It still boils down to personal decision, because easy conversations za move out mostly nazisikianga kwa middle to low earning classes, but I see rich people just living in their big mansion forever. All the families live there, their sons come with the wife. Also in some religions, in some cultures, everyone just lives in one big house together, and it's no beef, it's no drama, it's everyone has money because they're all rich. It's not about saving money or what, it's just about culture and family. So I guess these situations vary according to the reasons you have for yourself. There's people who live at home because, like Cutie said, they need to take care of their parents. There's people who want to save money. There's people who, they just like being at home. Like me, I just really like being at home. Chakula, mam ni tamu, vitu ni free. It's nice.
The house is full of people.
It's nice. They say things are free, but you pay with your mental health. And the thing is, it's different sets of reasons, different sets of situations for different people. Personally, I would never judge someone who lives at home because that was my plan. That's what I wanted to always do. But then I totally get it. I totally get it when Cutie says she wouldn't date such a person because kuna lessons tu zingine vile nimesema huwezi learn ukiwa home. Lazima ulearn kukua independent, kukua responsible, kukua kujua kubudget. Kwanza kaa haujui kubudget, you know, you just live home and you go somewhere where you need to make sure breakfast ikiwa 30, supper inaweza kuwa 70. Kama budget ni so moja. Ukipoteza 10 bob ni hivyo, leo ununui dania. So hizo ndo vitu lazima learn that this set of lessons can only be learned when you're at certain stages of life.
That's
so I
true.
think,
because when you're still at home, you always find those things bought. So hata
ujuangi ni how much.
Ujuangi bei ya sukari imefika wapi, unapata ka imebaiwa. So CJ, also tell us, I mean, is it a must? And the question I'd like you to give us information on is, at what age or how do you even, you know, that transition, when should it happen and how does it happen, if it is a must?
Well, I think Roberta captured a lot of what I was going to say, which is around culture and beliefs and religion. It's never necessarily because people are trying to save money. There's some people who, their communities would just grow together. And the thing about going out, I don't think that it is an ingredient to responsibility. Because again, you will find guys who've lived on their own, but they always are late with their rent. Their doors are always locked. Living alone has never taught them to be responsible.
One day after another.
Yeah, they owe everybody and every app that there could be. They can't manage. I mean, they still don't even know the prices of, you know, food or the basics, because again, lifestyle and decisions. So these things come back to personal growth. And you find somebody else who has lived in a space that looks like they're sheltered, but they're quite responsible. They will save, they will invest, they will build themselves. Again, personal habits, decisions, and responsibility. So moving out may put the pressure on you. It's just like a platform, but if you don't make the decisions, it may not help you. So that's why you find people go out and then they need to get back in, or they are living by themselves, but they're being bailed out by the people who are around them. So now and then it's their friends, it's their family. So you live on your own, but your mom is sending you money for the rent. Just go back home so that she doesn't have to be paying your rent.
Paying her own house and paying yours as well.
So I think the first place that somebody should start, even before the conversation of whether to move out or not, is, am I responsible enough to do these things? And have I learned the lessons? Now, that you can learn even while you're still home. You can take care of bills while you're home. You can get involved while you're home. The issue is that, for example, in the African setup, we don't raise children mostly to become financially responsible. So somebody goes to campus and then they get out and get their first job, and that's their first interaction with money. They have never been brought into the place where they have to make decisions around money. When they're in high school, whether they're in boarding or something, they're given pocket money that's just enough for whatever they need to do. So they really don't know how to behave with money. By the time they get their first salary, the first thing is, now let me go into my own freedom. Then they'll realize that money is not too much and it's not enough. And that's where the pressure begins to come in. But then now you have moved out, you're an adult. We took you to campus, you should stand on your own. But this person has not been mentored in home economics. Whereas other communities at 14, they're in the shop, they're being taught how to, you know, manage things. They've got some allowances, they're spending this, they're making their mistakes as they grow. By the time this kid is 24, they have had 10 years of mentorship around money and work and ethics and all that. So they're not on the same plane, even if they went to the same university. So it begins with how we handle even our children. We hide money from kids. Kids don't get money. You won't even give them a 200 or 500. You feel they may waste it. But they need to learn how to handle that money. Make that mistake. Then you tell them, this is not what you do. Or just give the money and then let the child tell you later on what they did with the money, so that you have these conversations. Because if you wait until they're 25 or 28, those mistakes will be bigger than right now. You'd rather know when they're 15 that this 500, this kid spent on this, and then you begin to monitor their behavior and train them. So asking about what age, I would say more, just like with marriage, it's about a stage than age. It's whether this person is really prepared to get out there. Because I don't think that you should push your kid who is not ready just to prove or show them, so now you're 20. Please get out of my house. If you asked me this 10 years ago, I'd probably tell you at a certain age they need to. But again, based on the various factors, sometimes it won't make sense for them to go out. They can stay for a while and build themselves. You could say, yes, you're out of campus. 3 years down the line, save, invest, build yourself. By the time you're moving out, you're not starting from scratch.
All right. Two things that have stood out for me from what you've said is you start preparing your child for that life early.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen like overnight. Start talking to them about money, about responsibility, about all those things at a very tender age.
Right.
And also, the other thing, it's not about, this person fitting into a script that is written that at a particular age you're supposed to move out. It's about how are they at that time? Are they ready to be able to be on their own out there? If not, then you better think about it.
When you have, when you have several children, like I do, they have various personalities as well. They don't grow at the same pace. They're not gifted in the same thing, in the same way. So what works for one person may not work for the other. Even just things like school systems. You'll find this one needs a school system where they go at the pace of the learner. Another one is quick enough to capture things. So you can't just put a standard way of, raising everybody and feeling like this one is doing better than the other one. Maybe their learning processes are different. Their expressions, their personalities, just different ways.
All right. So, Cutie, I also want to hear, ulisema that for you, moving out was actually a very big step. I want to hear whether you think there are things that probably you wouldn't have done or achieved, or the person that you are right now wouldn't have been, were it not for the fact that you took that bold step to move out.
Yeah, because for me, I think it really shaped who I am today, because I've never gone back home until, you see, when I finished high school, and then I came to college. So, of course, I came to Nairobi to college to do mass communication and all that. So, when I came to Nairobi, Safin, I've never been back home. Like, ile kuishi with my mom, I've never gone back home. And it does not mean that I started life at that particular moment. But now, when you're in college, you go to the hostel first of all. So, of course, your parents are paying for the hostel because they don't want you to commute and all that. So, for me, that's where life started. So when I'm in college, of course, you're seeing the way dynamics are changing. When you're in college, you're like, you don't want to go back home. Who wants to go back home after college, Safin? And then you see, I don't want to go back.
For yourself.
I don't want to go back home. This generation, but the generations are different. Before my generation, the other generation X, walikuwa natolewa nyumbani. They used to come from home, unachukuliwa kama msichana kwenyu. You actually go with a suitcase. Unatoka na suitcase, unaenda kwa altar, ukitoka hapo unaenda kwa bwana yako. You see, that's a totally different story, Lakini unaenda kwa nyumba ya nani? The guy alikuwa asha move out. The guy had already moved out. Yako na keja yake. So probably you guys are moving into that guy's house, Then comes millennials. Millennials pia, there are half of them that wenye walitoka, wakutoka na suitcase nyumbani, na kuna wenye walipatana huko nje. Come to Gen Z. My God, I don't even want to talk about Gen Z. But you see now, dynamics, generations zimekuwa zikichange with time. So for me, after nimemaliza high school, I came to college. After college, I just told myself, so say I stayed in the hostel for a while, and then I was like, I'm not going back home. So what we did with my friend, my friend, her brother and me, tulitafuta tu keja tu affordable. uko tu downtown, and we started living in that house, and we started with a mattress. We used to sleep down. I was like, by the way, this is it. This is where I'm starting. I don't know why, but hiyo time ilikuwa so important. Unaanza na mattress, ufa na gas. I don't know why, but hiyo ndio ilikuwa, that was the memo. Watu waanzagi, siku hizi unapata msee ako na everything, unashangaa ametoa wapi. But sisi enzi zetu, you started with a mattress, a ufa, and of course, yani tu tulianza kulala chini, and then from there you graduate to a bed, you graduate to other things. Yani sisi tumezoea kujitegemea. I bought myself my first TV. I actually did everything for myself. Mimi hakuna ile kitu naweza sema ati mzazi alinitumia do ati nikabai kitu fulani. For me, I actually did everything for myself. Na hiyo kitu imenishape saizi. It has shaped who I am, because right now I am so yani imenifanya tu nimekuwa independent. Mimi nimezoea kujifanyia everything. I buy my own food, I buy my own clothes. But hii mambo ya kusema kuishi na mzazi, that is why I've said, hata venye CJ explained, dynamics ni different. Kuna ule mtoi mwenye maybe hayuko ready kufanya hizo vitu, but in our days, people were so independent. They used to go out there and say, by the way, mimi naanza tu na mattress. Yani hiyo ndio ilikuwa tu kulia. Saizi watu wanafanishiwa makeja, watu wanafanywa basically. People are being furnished for houses. Yani unaona tu mtu ameanza tu.
People are being given keys.
Hivi unapatiwa keys, unaambiwa ndio hii hao, shika ndio hii nini ya gari, ndio hii simu, ndio hii kila kitu. So unaona with generations times have changed. So ina depend uko kwa situation gani. And as they also said, kuna zile communities za mnaanzisho biashara hata ukiwa 10 years old. Unaendaga na mama yako kwa duka. Mnaenda mnafanya hizo vitu zote. So hii shop itakuja iko yako, ikuje iko ya watoto wako. So there is no need to move. And there are people who actually live together. Even now, wanishigi unapata grandmother, father, mtoi wake, grandkids wote wako hapo. Na hiyo ni culture too for them. But mimi nasema mimi kama QT, I would not be comfortable doing that, because that's how I've been raised. Na pia mimi mwenyewe nimeenda huko nje nikajipigania. So pia I really want a man that sitaki mtu mwenye ako kwa baba yake, unaelewa, ama kwa mama yake, because I feel like atakuwa babied. For me na feel kwangu na feel huyu chali atakuwa babied sana, alafu pia decisions zenye ana make for me, sorry to say, but na feel like zitakuwa influence na environment yako. Yeye hajazoea kujifanyia vitu, probably hata ajui vitu zenye ziko kwa market. Hata ukimuuliza nyanya
na kama ni general manager wa Garment Sons,
sasa si akuwe na keja yake. Exactly, more reason for him to actually have his own house, because mbona unakaa huko kwa mzazi na unaweza lipa hizi bills zote uende uko na keja yako, una get. So mimi na appreciate hata wale wazazi, fine, hata kama ulipatiwa nyumba na wazazi wako, probably mzazi wako akona hizo makeja akwambia okay, enda uishi kwa hiyo. Kuna wenye wanaendaga wanazichukua, na kuna mtu atambia mzazi, cheki, hapana, I need to hustle this for myself, I need to get my own money, I need to start this afresh, and I need to teach my kids how to get their things for them. So it really depends, Afin, and I'm not judging anyone. If you want to provide for your kids everything until they're like 40 or 50, well and good for you. But kama mtoi wako anataka kwenda out there na afanye hizo vitu, let them go, wacha aende alan. Kikimramba si uko hapo tu, mzazi hatawahi kufukuza. That's what I keep on saying, mzazi wako hatawahi kufukuza. Kikukuramba unarudi kwa mzazi, unaenda unaanza tena. I mean, it's about unaanguka, unaamka, unajidust, you start again. You have to start until you get there, Safin. Huwezi sema ati utaka kwa mzazi mpaka ukue 60 shwali. Ai, hapana.
That's the problem of Manchester United thinking.
Oh my God.
That's Manchester United thinking. Just used to struggles.
Ameleta story ya Manchester kwa conversation.
Wamezoea shida,
Tumezoea shida mpaka
addicted to trouble.
I know, we are so much in trouble. Tumezoea kuwa independent.
Taki kuwa baby girl.
Kuwa baby.
Roberta, mtu amekupenda. Hii ni example. Amekuja, anataka you guys maybe you start dating or you have a relationship, lakini anaishi kwao bado. Would you be having a problem with that?
Akona trust fund.
Important
questions only. Ni sawa kama anaishi kwao, lakini
akona trust fund.
Okay, let me just say.
Roberta.
Let me just say, you know, the reason I'm in the middle is because I'm both these people that CJ and QT are describing.
Yeah.
Mimi, I grew up very sheltered. Mimi mtoto wa mama. As in, up to now, my mom brings me breakfast in bed. My mom, hata siezi, jana nilijo, we were just having a random conversation the other night. And she asked me, you know, what do you need? What do you need? Come vacation, then nikitoka Citizen, then the supermarket, ni buy a few things from the house, for the house. Akanza, what do you need? Bro, jana alituma na hizo vitu kwa nyumba, hizo shopping zote. So hata leo si lazima niende.
Hapana, Mama Roberta, stop, please, Stop now.
unaona okay, point ni watu wengine wako na privilege na privilege ya wase ni different. Saa ingine privilege yako ni beauty, saa ingine privilege yako is that you come from money, saa ingine privilege yako is that your parents are still alive, saa ingine privilege yako ni they even have a home, they even have a house. It could be whatever. And I'd like to say, if you have access to privilege, please use it to take you to the next level.
I agree.
Kwa sababu mimi, kusema ukweli nilikuwa nimebaki na tao mbili mbele nyuma. Nimelipa hivi rent nikabaki. Lakini siwezi ambia mom kwa sababu the next thing she's gonna say, if life is hard, please come back home. Unateseka nini? Huku hujafukuzwa, huku nyumba kuna room yako bado iko, vitu zako ziko, just come back home. But also, I see how far living on my own has brought me. It has taught me a level of independence that I could, honestly, I could not have achieved if I lived home. Mi udekezwa, mi ni mtoto wa mama, mama unifanyia kila kitu. If she can, she will. So I see how I needed to get out. Whether it happened the way it was supposed to or abruptly, I see how that change impacted my life in a very positive way. Because now even the feeling of having my own things and being able to say, this is my TV, this is my couch, it might be small things, but it really makes a difference in your life. Iyo kuweza kujituma, mi sikukuwa mse yako hivyo, to be honest. Na najua, CJ venye anasema, easy qualities, it's not really about where you're at or anything. It's about like who you are. You just decide to be responsible. You can't be responsible at home. You can't be responsible while you're living by your own. But some environments can act as catalysts. Because sai najua, nisipojituma sikuli, nisipojituma for real stalipa rent, na ka ningekuwa home, mi ningekuwa na doze. Because mamangu ni allow nilale. Neza hata laladi midday. As in, even though kuko. So I'm those kind of people who need to push myself extra to achieve self-discipline. And I think being in such an environment just automatically pushes me to want to do better for myself. So it's wewe situation yako, ni kuangalia situationally, where am I at? What do I need to achieve for myself right now? I needed to achieve things like self-discipline, being very independent. Because I knew, ukiangalia mtoto wako unaona, aka nika baby girl, mtuma uko nje. Life itamkarangaza, huyu hataweza huko. Na kuna mwingine unaona venye CJ amesema, personality za wengine ka cute, very go-getter. She knows what she needs to do. Even if she doesn't have the blueprint, she knows what she wants. So she knows what she's chasing. What I'd say is, just figure out who you are. Know who you are first, and then you make these decisions for yourself so that you're able to decide, mi nataka kuendelea kudekezwa na mom, am I ready to take that leap? And the thing is, you're never really ready for change. We can say at a certain stage, you are ready for this. At a certain stage, but sometimes change just happens. There's people who are forced out of home at 19. There's people who at 60, like that gentleman, hakuna haraka, alisema babake amejenga nyumba, wanaishi, anaenda kujenga nini na wako na keja. So you think for yourself, what do you want out of life? It's not a must, but personally, I feel like it definitely catalyzed my personality into who I've become and the kind of, saizi hata saving ni different. Lazima ni kuna kiti ya rent. Siwezi enda kukula chakula 7,000 na najua lazima ni sijaeka 1,000 kwa kiti ya rent. It just makes you become a critical thinker.
Those are things you wouldn't have thought about.
Never.
Unaishi home.
Aje na chakula inaletwa hivi kwa bed.
Rent shalipwa. Hata uji inalipwangwa when.
Hata by the way inakaa kama joke, lakini you have to understand, most people here move with their privilege. Please usijinyime ujitese kwa sababu unaogopa sijui inakuanga feeling ya nini. If you have beauty, use your beauty. If you have connections, use your connections. If you have network, use it. If you can say your father's name, my father is Mr. Use it. Use it kwa sababu use it as long as in a good way, not ati kuumiza watu wengine. But if you have that privilege, if ujafukuzwa home, by the way nje si rahisi. Juzi nilienda kubai dio na sijui tissue na ilikuwa tao. Dio na tissue, mimi nakumbuka tukiendanga kubai. Na tao ungebai so many things. Saizi ni vitu mbili, hata uwezi nunua mkate. So it's crazy out here. But it does teach you a certain level of critical thinking, budgeting, kuweka vitu kwa priority list. You really, wacha nikwambie kitu ingine inaniteach in adulthood. If an adult prioritizes you as a friend, as a lover, as a what, anyway, they've really taken intention. Because adulthood comes with a lot of things. You have to, unakaa hivi token ina beep. Titi, unakaa hivi gari, sijui gurudumu imefanya nini, sijui Robata alikuwa amekuomba 5,000, sijui rent ndio hiyo inakuja. You have to pay all these things. And it just teaches you a certain, I feel like different sets of situations teach you different sets of lessons. Yes, you could learn them another way or in another place, but whatever situation you're in, whatever it is that you want, kama unataka kwenda kwanza na mattress, hata mimi nilianza na mimi hata sikukuwa na gas, nilikuwa napika kwa jirani. So however, alikuwa ananikubalisha, alikuwa ananiambia come, mimi na buy food na lakini tunatumia gas yake.
Nilibeba hiyo gas peleke kwako.
Sasa unajua utaki kuinconvenience mtu, umehama tu kwa hiyo building size, hujui hata rada vizuri. However your life starts, however it looks like, however it is, please jua this is what you want for yourself. And these lessons, yes, you can learn them any other way, but kama uko na privilege, tafadhali jisaidie.
It's a very strong point.
True.
If your father is well known, you can actually use that name to get yourself somewhere.
Because he works hard.
You don't have to eat out.
Mimi nikienda mahali na naweza sema CJ. I'll say, no, I'm colleagues with CJ. Of course, I'll get treated nicely, so I'll use it.
Hey, CJ, I'm glad to be sitting on a panel with you. Anyway, let's talk about men. Yeah? Shida sana hata si wasichana. Shida, hii topic actually naona kama ni kwa wanaume sana ndio inasumbua. Is it a must for a man to move out? And does it even affect say dating or marriage or those plans that people usually say, huyu sasa anaonekana is a grown up? Does it affect if you're still living in your parents' house?
I don't know whether to answer they are must, but I would say it is good.
It is good, eh?
It is good for personal growth and development to create a space where they can implement their vision and exercise their leadership. Because if you're bringing in people into your life, we've talked about this several times, how the man has to be a leader. So if you're coming into a different space, you may not really exercise that leadership and give direction to your family. Even with the communities that we talk about, you know, there's a way they space out. Sometimes it's just one large compound, and then the house everybody has they got their space for them to make decisions around it. So, they'll sit together around the dinner, they'll sit together in the evening and all of that, but then there is room and space for them to make decisions. And they may have a patriarch, but then when it comes to the individual families, then because they've cultured themselves like that, they can make those decisions. So it is important in terms of creating the space for this person to then visualize and actualize whatever they want and to raise their children in the way that they would. However, you know, there are now those factors like the economic factors. This person is probably getting to 30, getting to 40. Are they in the space where they can actually go out, start a life and take care of themselves? In the past, families would get involved. You would be given something by your parents. You'd be given space to build. Today, you've got to start by buying land, which is not very easy. So you're working, trying to, you know, secure your future, build. You're still taking care of your children. So people this is why men are really stressed out there. Because again, we've put these timelines on them. By 40, you should have built your house, you should have done this. And saying the generations before were better. But those generations, grandfathers had 10, 15, 20 acres of land, which they left behind, split around their 5 sons. Everybody's leaving their place with 4 acres or something. Then this one will give a son 1 acre. So you don't have to start with the land costs. You would do some agriculture as well. So basics like food would be shared, and you'd have that in the community. So today, when somebody's going out, they need to find a way to take care of accommodation, food, and everything, and still raise these children. mostly schools were free before. Today, you can't really say that because there are more communities, especially in urban areas, than there are public schools. So you may find that where you live, there's no public school, and the children can't go too far. If they do, you have to be taking care of the transportation cost. So you then end up taking them to a school that is closed, which is then a private school, which then it's a bit of a higher cost. So these dynamics have really, really changed, which means that we also have to tamper a little bit with our expectations so that we look at how can we support people to become who we want them to become. Yes, it is okay to set the standards and say, well, a man should do this, but what support system does he have?
But just a follow-up.
Yeah.
Kama haezi jichunga, kama haezi jisaidia, sasa anapata wapi audacity ya kukatia msichana wa mtu? Yeah? Ni sawa uchumi mbaya, kuna shida, kuna hizo vitu zote unasema. Lakini kama hawezi jitegemea, hawezi jilipia nyumba.
That's a natural animal instinct.
Mbona anasumbua msichana wa mtu?
That's a natural animal instinct. Animals will mate, birds will mate. So those are natural instincts. You'll find street families, people on the street, they have nowhere to go, and you'll find babies being popped out over there. This is a natural instinct that over there. You know. I mean, you'll find even somebody who is not mentally well out on the streets, but somehow you find
they survive.
They have raised a kid, or there's a child over there just in the street. So those are very difficult conversations now to have. Like, okay, you don't have money, you can't talk to a woman, because those are very natural instincts. It's biology at work. So the thing is, how do we create support systems for these people? And as I said before, you'll have people who are proactive. You'll have people who are self-driven, motivated. Other people may not be there. But then, so what do we do? Do you let them fall through the cracks? Do you say that, well, this one cannot marry because, or cannot date because they don't have this? Maybe there's somebody who actually would want to be in their lives. You may find there's a lady who actually loves the personality of this person, and they really don't care about the thing about their financial status. Because, see, somebody could be economically stable. They could be driven and all of that. But then again, they're very abusive. They're very toxic. So this is not the only thing. It is a good thing. It's a good thing to be able to provide for the people that you lead. But what kind of a person are you? Are you somebody that somebody would want to live with, stay with? Would you be a good father to the children? Or what kind of a person would you be? So there are many things that we've got to look at. Again, that's what I was talking about, stages and development. There are people like Bobby who, if you bring this guy to a certain woman, she will stir up whatever is in him to become better. There are men who became better because they met certain women.
Which is true.
But there are others, if you bring them to a woman who is self-driven, you've just worsened everything. So it is very situational, like it's got to be case by case. You've got to analyze who is this, where will this person thrive, what do they need, how do they get to where they want to go to. Is it something they can change, or are they taking advantage of people? Is it something that they can do something about, or they've just decided that they're going to be a burden on people? It's a case-by-case kind of situation.
Uko na hiyo time. Uko na hiyo time. Uko na hiyo time ya kujaribu find out tu.
Mnaniweka kwa majaribu.
Context yake ni gani kabla ni judge?
Mbona mnaniweka kwa majaribu tafadhali?
Tuko na hiyo time mama, ni kusonga.
Saizi tu tukikuwa tu realistic, hiyo time haiko Safina. Kitambo ungetafutana na mtu mwanze maisha, sasa hivi mnaanzia wapi Safina? Tunakuwa tu realistic. Tunakuwa watu one saizi tunaanzia wapi Safina? Sijasema tuwezi anza, but nauliza tunaanzia wapi maze. Dynamics zimechange, times zimechange. Yaani vitu mob sana zimechange. Vile tu siji tu vile anasema, ina depend na situation, ina depend na personality ya mtu, ina depend na dynamics za mtu. Unaweza kuwa mtu ako na do lakini bado pia venye anakutreat, venye sije amesema inaweza kuwa ni ngori. But I just think we mwenyewe jiteka mkutano ujiulize kama uko ready for that, and if you're ready for that, well and good for you. Venye tu tumesema, kama wazazi wako wako na do na una feel ukiwa hapo uko tu sawa, si uishi tu nao. Kwa nini unataka kwenda go into depression ukitaka ku prove to the world ati wewe mwenyewe sasa we ni man unajua ati wewe sasa unaweza provide ya familia una provide wewe mwenyewe hata hauko fiti, wewe mwenyewe hata huwezi jitekea care, alafu unataka kwenda kuprove ya dunia ati unaweza tekea. Na hiyo ndio kitu venye CJ amesema ina drive men into depression because pressure yenye wanaume wanaekewa saa hizi ni ati you have to provide. Yani kama kuna kitu ina stress wanaume, you have to provide, your man. So mbona watu wanataka kukuweka kwa hiyo situation? What if you cannot actually provide? Na kwenyu mko na hiyo do, wazazi wako wamekuambia cheki kama ukae tu hapa. Mzazi wako hataki kukupatia hiyo do, anataka ukae home until you're ready to actually go and hustle for yourself, ndio uanze maisha. But umetoka hapa nje unataka kuonyesha mbogi, we ni man. Hizo ndio vitu zinaua most men. Wana commit suicide because of depression. They cannot provide for their families. Wife ndio huyo anakupatia pressure, anakuambia babe, sasa tutaishi aje? Mimi nataka kuishi kwa 2 bedroom, unaweza afford bed sitter. And the chick is there giving you pressure. By this tuna need kukaa kwa 2 bedroom. Watu hiyo wana need kukunywa maziwa brand fulani, watu hiyo wana need kwenda shule brand fulani, watu hiyo wangu lazima wakunywe nani, watu hiyo wangu lazima wavae diaper. Nani alisema hizo vitu zote lazima zi happen? If you're not ready, you're not ready. Na itakucost mental health yako ukitaka kuprove something to someone just because. So you'd rather not do that just to prove a point. Probably some of us sisi tulikuwa blessed, tulienda huko tukahustle ikajipa, but si ati lazima ijipe at that particular point. Ukisikia umeteleza, umeanguka, amka, rudi home, just stay for a while, get yourself together, then when you're ready now you can go out in the world and venture into it. So usijipatie pressure. Mimi sijasema mtu ajipatie pressure ati lazima utoke ukiwa tukifika 18 ukifika 20 unaweza toka hata ukiwa 30, but na wewe ukitoka hivi maybe tu uko ready, umeanza utaprovide huo mama hiyo nyumba yenye anataka ya 2 bedroom, utaweza kuiafford hiyo nini yenye anataka.
Lakini na hata hizo demands siku moja tuongelelea hizo demands.
Hizo demands ni ngori.
Unataka kitu yenye hata wewe mwenyewe
hauwezi jiprovidea
hizo na unaitisha
ati 2 bedrooms. Wewe mwenyewe hata hujaishi 2 bedroom.
Nani wenyewe
wewe mwenyewe hujaishi 2 bedroom, unataka kuishi 2 bedroom.
Acha tuchukue message SMS kiasi then we continue, yeah? So we invited your feedback as well for you to also tell us what you think. Today we are talking about whether it's a must for somebody to move out of their parents' house. At what age, if you think it is a must? And we just want to hear what some of you are saying. There's one here saying a man anaishi kwao. Kwanza ameuliza man anaishi kwao. I can't respect his reasoning. How will he be a man enough kwao? Yani huyu hajaamini. That's a turn off for me. Okay. Lea anasema this topic is very healthy. My daughter taught herself to save money when she went to a boarding high school. She would come for holidays and tell me, from the pocket money you gave me, I have saved, and this amount which you will add for the next term. I also had a niece who would finish everything and sometimes borrow from friends, though I gave both the same amount of pocket money. All right. John anasema I've tried living alone. Imagine I went back home after 2 months. I just can't. And I'm 20. John, we jipe time. Watch a pressure. Professor Okumu Bigambo, you're saying once a fruit is ripe, hey, this is a wise man. It falls off the tree. Let mature boys and girls move out to grow up into responsible persons. Professor, umeongea kama professor. Amesema matunda ikishaiva
kiiva wacha tu iende.
Naenda yenyewe.
Do you realize that he's talking about a stage and not an age?
Yeah.
Stage.
Yeah.
Because even fruits don't ripen at the same pace.
Yeah. True.
So the question is, this one that is supposed to fall off, is it ripe? Or have we now decided John is 20, he needs to go out and ripen from the ground? You know?
Oh, yeah.
The one who was talking about being a man enough, I think we have to define what man enough is.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of talk about be a man, be a man. You know, a lot of men don't even know what that means. So they hear that, like, be a man. But then the question is, who is a man? Because I don't have models. I don't have any image of manhood or masculinity. And that's why they will run into different spaces, including very negative traits of masculinity, because they're trying to define this thing. We have to define what masculinity is and who a man is. So who is a man? Is it the one who provides? Is it the one who is always angry, tough, and never shows emotion? Who has defined this manhood and the traits that they are? Because nearly every man has a very different definition of who a man is. So we probably need to then talk about what this manhood is about. So by the time you're telling somebody be a man, they know what you're talking about and not assuming that they do know. Right.
All right. Sure. We've come to the end of the conversation, and this is a final round of your parting shots. Yeah, tutaanzia Roberta, and also for somebody who wants to continue having this conversation with Roberta, anapatikana wapi?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, kwanza tupatie your closing remarks. Is it a must for somebody to move out? That is what we were talking about. And from what we've discussed here, what would be your take home, or what would you want somebody to take as their biggest take home from this conversation?
Yeah. I'd say my stance is that kama to CJ, it's not a must, but it's good. It definitely builds you in ways that, in positive ways that you love to grow. And of course, I feel like most times tukiongea, sometimes people might feel like we're focusing on the good people, the responsible people who pay their rent on time, like in this topic, people who take care of themselves. It's okay. Ukienda ufail kulipa rent, jua tu ni sawa. Pia hiyo ni part of the lesson, ni part of the journey. You can always come back home if you're able to. You can always start afresh. Most of us wenye kitu amesema, tulianza na mattress. Usifikirie kila kitu ni glamorous venye ati watu post my key ama wamesha by kila kitu. People start very differently at very different stages. So just trust yourself more, believe in yourself, know yourself enough to know exactly what you want so that you're able to go for it. And yeah, learn, always be the kind of person who's willing and ready to learn good lessons. In the event that living at home or living on your own affects your relationship, please kuwa mjanja na ukwe wise enough kuwa able to decipher na kuona, oh, maybe living at home is affecting my relationship or vice versa. Just know yourself so that you're able to make better decisions.
All right. Cutie?
Ndasema too, don't live a life pleasing people, spending money that you don't even have, pleasing people that don't even care. If you can be able to afford that life, live it. If you cannot be able to afford it, wait until the time is right. Na we mwenyewe tu utajua. Wananifollow on all social media pages at Cutie Lady Watchers in the morning. So big up on yourself.
All right. CJ?
Growth is progressive. Some of you may need, when time comes, you go out on your own. Some of you may probably need to live with friends or other people before you move to your own space so that you are being weaned off progressively. So set your own pace. Don't live at anybody's pace. No pressure.
No pressure. What a way at Roberta Bobby.
Oh yeah, at Roberta Bobby everywhere.
CJ Atemo.
At CJ Atemo, at Safina_Ching, at Citizen TV Kenya is our official Twitter handle. Inaitwa X. Yeah, tupate hapo. Let's keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for creating time for us on this Tuesday. And how we wind it up, hakuna pressure. Imagine hakuna pressure. You go when you're ready to go, and you should have a very good reason why you are going. That is how we wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.